Conquered the Atlantic, she set her sights next on the Pacific. And in 1935, Amelia climbed into the cockpit and took off on the 2,400-mile run from Wheeler Field, Honolulu to Oakland, California. 18 hours and 16 minutes later, she landed at Oakland. Amelia Earhart had done it again, and frankly, no one was too surprised. The world had come to expect these things from the young Kansas woman.
Well, I was born in Shelbyville, Illinois in 1935. And small town, about 4,500 people, and it's about the same right now. Hasn't changed much, and I go back every now and then to see my mother, who's 92. Well, I don't think that when I was growing up, people didn't travel. The furthest that we really went much away from home was 30 miles to the north and a little west up to Decatur.
The fortress of Oahu, built by the United States at a cost of over $1 billion, lay devastated in the first battle between the United States and its enemies in World War II.
I remember that when war was declared, when Pearl Harbor occurred, we were in a car between my hometown and another town where my father lived, where we lived for 1 year. I do remember, in World War II, the use of rationing stamps and gas rationing and food rationing, and people were very patriotic about that. Dated in high school, dated in high school. There wasn't any, see, that's a question that's not really very hard to answer, because in that period of time, that's what you did. She worked all the way through my graduate programs, both the master's degree and the other degrees in the doctoral program. She's an excellent nurse, and she's an excellent person. We had been married 28 years. We talked about it, and we went to counseling and did all those kinds of things, but it just seemed to be appropriate that it was time for me to do those things that were what I would call me. People say the gay life is, really something. I think there's a lot to be said for the straight life also, especially if you've developed a professional identity. If you're in a small town like Monmouth where everybody knows you. And I think he represented a lot of people his age. I mean, he spoke for us.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Went back to the office, and this was at Northern Illinois University where I was running a program for the deaf. And I was in my office when the announcement came through that he had been killed. And Walter Cronkite made the announcement, and he cried, and that didn't help any. So it was a very, very, in my life, that was a very telling moment. As I went along in my career, and I was in administrative positions and so on and so on and so on, I was able to then become more and more out. I have never said to my mother, I'm gay. When I started to talk with my mother one time, she said, well, just don't say anything that's going to bother me. So I think that they also need to know, though, that there are some experiences that we've had, whether it's meeting people or at work or wherever, that we're glad to talk to them about and help them struggle with that. The problem that I see there is, of course, that we don't have very many young people that want to talk to what I call senior people. To your own self be true, and you cannot be false to any man. And so I've always tried in my life to be true with people and honest. And it's kind of hard to say to somebody, be honest, but if you guys don't tell them I'm gay because I don't want anybody to know. So I think you have to be honest. And I think it's very liberating.
The Great Depression of the 1930s was the worst economic slump in U.S. history. Beyond the collapse of the stock market in 1929, many factors played a role in bringing about the Depression, mainly the great unequal distribution of wealth throughout the 1920s. Automotive industry mogul Henry Ford provides a striking example. In 1929, he reported a personal income of $14 million in the same year that the average American's personal income was $750. Greenback dollar captures the agony of the millions who had no access to the American dream, to the masses of people who dreamed no further than the simple wish to find a job and feed their families.
I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is the right to live, mister. Give me back my job again. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is just live and let live. Give me back my job again. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is food for my children. Now give to me my old job back. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is just live and let live. Give me back my job again. Think me dumb if you wish, mister. If you wish. Call me green or blue or red. There's just one thing, and I know, miss, that I know our hungry children must be fed. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is just live and let live. Give me back my job again. Take the two old parties, mister. No difference in them can I see. But with the Farmer Labor Party, we will set the workers free. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is just live and let live. Give me back my job again. All I want is just live and let live. Give me back my job
But in 1942, as war once again engulfed the world, a brand new experiment in female war effort was launched under the jaundiced eye of the military high command. The Army announced the opening of enlistments of the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps.
Next thing I knew, they were telling me that I was going to be the battalion commander of this medical clerks training unit. My name is Virginia Stewart Gibson Clark. My maiden name was Gibson, and I have acquired a nickname from Gibson. The nickname is Gibby. I was born at Fort Omaha, Nebraska. My father was a World War I pilot. We went then from Lincoln, Nebraska to Minnesota, and we came the northern route through the Badlands of South Dakota and so forth, and we saw only George Washington on Mount Rushmore. And Gutzlam Borglum, the sculptor, was down below with his red bandana around his neck, and I shook hands with him. He was a very nice gentleman. In 8th grade, when I graduated from the 8th grade, they wanted to take a class picture. We didn't have money for pictures, and so I wasn't going to be in the class picture. Well, I have several friends around there, and I thought this was really sweet of them, that they collected their dimes and quarters and nickels and paid for my picture to be in with the class. I remember in 1939, I defied my parents by wearing a pair of slacks outside the house. I think every one of us was very attracted to Katharine Hepburn. I know I was. I just admired her tremendously. She was very daring and outgoing, and she even dared to wear slacks in her movies. On December 7th, 1941, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was in Rhododendron. We were sitting there eating breakfast, and the man that owned the place had the radio on. And over the radio came this announcement about Japan attacking Pearl Harbor. Well, the three guys and us just sat there with our mouths open. We were just astounded. And then the guys all got up and they said, "We're enlisting." So we never did make it up to the Mount Hood. They just went right back home and enlisted that same day. Well, they didn't have anything for women then. But now that was in December of 41. Okay, in May of 42, they started recruiting the skeletal officer corps.
The girls in specially designed uniforms launched into training at Fort Des Moines, Iowa. 784 young women were carefully selected for the experiment.
They didn't have enough winter uniforms for us, so they gave us small men's overcoats where the sleeves hung down to the end of our fingers, and then they put those mittens on us where they have the trigger finger that comes out, and those mittens hung out like this on us. I knew that for some reason or other I preferred the company of women. I went to dances and I danced with men and enjoyed their company, but I didn't want to be permanently with any man. I would rather have the company of women. You develop a sort of antenna about people. And today I can walk into a grocery store and look around and think, I see one over there. I was going to be a biologist until my senior year, when I began to look around, and all the career people that you contact at that time, they weren't into careers too much, but they had some specialists, and they were saying, "You're graduating in what?" I said, "As a biologist." They said, "Well, there's no field for you. They're not hiring women biologists." I guess it was in the early 70s when people began to say, "Come out, come out, come out." And why not? There was never a bit of a problem at all in my family. Well, I've discovered getting married and trying to cross the barrier didn't work. So I might just as well be who I am. Everybody on this earth is supposed to be made in God's image.
Viva battalion, squadron, and corps. How to be strong in a man's world, plus a whole lot more. WAAC, no longer a mystery. She found herself in ecstasy, in the company of soldier's dress. For love and tenderness, she marched around the world and back A rebel looking up to those who chose a different way. Wearing those pants in public, she and Hepburn had their say. I'll take orders from Uncle Sam, but never from a regular man. I'm happy to be who I am, in the company of
The 20th century was the most violent period in recorded history. The centerpieces of this insanity were the two world wars. In 1945, when the Second World War came to an end, the death toll was unimaginable. The United States and the Allied forces reported 11.5 million soldiers killed, while 5.5 million soldiers died fighting the doomed causes of the Axis powers. Additionally, millions of civilians perished in the crossfire, while 11 million were murdered by Nazi genocidal policies. In terms of death and suffering and economic and social devastation, the effects of this war to end all wars are incalculable. The world had gone mad. The Reverend David E. Bumbaugh of the Unitarian Church in Summit, New Jersey grew up in World War II, and he writes about our next song.
There, in that song, was captured much of the ethos of the times in which I grew up, the faith which led women and men to attempt the impossible, to risk their very lives. They believed that the world could be better, that their children would inherit from their hands a more promising future, and that justice and truth were strong beyond all the forces arrayed against them. In the midst of those awful times, I learned in the ability of people to dream a better world and make it reality.
In remembrance of World War II and the men and women who risked and gave their lives for the freedom we enjoy today, we present There'll Be Bluebirds Over the White Cliffs of Dover.
hope
To a lover of the opera, there is nothing more glamorous or exciting than the opening of the Met. The glitter of the upper strata of society as they dismount from their shiny black chariots, sometimes known as limousines, adds to the air of electricity that surrounds a formal opening night of grand opera.
Irving Gilbert Ewan, and I go by Irv. I was born in Columbus Day in 1932, which is October 12th. In the late 30s, we moved to Portland. My grandparents and my mother and I, out to Northeast 76th. In fact, the house is still in the family. And I grew up there, went to grade school at Gregory Heights, and one of my outlets was music. They had an orchestra there, and I learned to play the violin, and then went to Grant High School. I hated to go to gym class, but I loved to play in the orchestra. I was somewhat of a loner in high school, but I had some friends, didn't socialize all that much. And most of my social activities were involved with the orchestra.
Mamoru Shigemitsu, the foreign minister of the Japanese surrender government, removed his white gloves for the historic signing.
And VJ Day, I think I was in Portland. And I remember when that, everybody celebrated Multnomah County planning. I did the master plan for Troutdale, which was, today would be considered pretty primitive. But one major highway that goes through Troutdale that connects to the freeway was part of my plan. And in 1979, we were planning to go up to Seattle to stay with his mother. I was taking my mother was going with us. The day before we were to leave, my mother had to go to a foot doctor for an appointment. They never came home. He was helping my mother cross the street on 4th and Alder, and an 18-wheeler ran over both of them, killed him outright. But at that point, is when I really came out. People at work would, they're interested in my well-being kind of thing, but they would say, well, this is just a friend taking your mother across the street. And I said, he's more than a friend.
And then comes the magic moment. The beautiful velour drapes fold back, and the audience sinks under the spell of the golden blending of music and voice.
Being part of the support, I don't go on stage, I'm not in the limelight, but I know what I do is part of what the audience sees. Alice and I had another funny experience at opera. Her dresser disappeared, and Alice had a fast change. She was fit to be tied, and I said, well, Alice, if you're not modest, let's just do it. So I got in, I don't know what all the female attire went where, but we got her put together in a costume change, and she went on stage. And I don't want to be known for my sexual identity. I don't think that should be the thing that I come across as. I'm just a person, but I am a gay person.
Get your pictures here and get that money in the kitchen. Who is that that got me there in the flight away switching?
The sergeant hour. I got bail and go to jail. I mean, this Johnny jumping. It's really jumping. We're all the wagon knocks. I mean, this Johnny. 'twas said not many years ago by men wise and discreet that women had no souls, you know, but only hands and feet. These days we've souls that some relief, but still the fact remains. According to man's best belief, was sadly short of brains. Day follows night and darkness flees at dawn of justice fair. When inequality shall cease, in counsel all may share. Why should not woman work with man to see the coming day? When shall we come, in fact, the plan that God hath made alway? But now we see the light beaming o'er the land, justice and right marching hand in hand. Struggle on, for victory is near. The day has come when women vote. Votes for women, just a simple right. We want to come to make the world more bright. Men must know that we are truly working for the good of all. Men must know that we are truly working for the good of all.
The speakeasy became the hub of social life. And here was the gal who made her fortune by running one of the most famous of the illegal gin mills. Texas Guinan greeted her customers with the cry of "Hello, suckers," and people paid handsomely for the privilege of being insulted by Tex and her gals.
I suppose when the butterflies stop, the adrenaline isn't correct. You know what I don't have? I don't have my boobs. I'd got an...
I was born in Portland, Oregon, Emmanuel Hospital, 1930, November 16, 1930. A single, adorable child. No, I was a quiet little mouse. I kind of imagined Darcelle being shy or hang in the back of the room or any of these things. But yeah, Darcelle never, Walter never, or Sonny as they called me then, I never stepped to the front of the class very often. Well, I'd be the last one, and then they'd have to put me somewhere because I would be standing there. They'd have to put me somewhere, and I was always pissed. I didn't like it. Yeah, it was horrible. My mother passed away when I was very young. I was about 6 years old when she passed away. And she was a stay-at-home, of course, and he worked at the mill for like $1 a day or something like that. I can remember having beans all the time, every meal, because it was Depression time. We had real streetcars that ran on tracks, and the one that runs between Lloyd Center and downtown now, the Council Crest line. We had that. They were all over town. We used to take the streetcars to Linton for 5 cents, and it ran on, the tracks are still there. I've seen the tracks. They're still along the side of the road. Weekends, we would walk to St. John's. It was a 2-mile walk over across the St. John's Bridge, and we'd have 15 cents and 10 cents for the movie and 5 cents for popcorn. And we went to see Gone with the Wind. I'll never forget Scarlett O'Hara. I thought she was the woman I'd love to be someday, when she stood there in the field, you know, just before the intermission, and she grabbed that turnip up and she said, "I will never go hungry again." Well, I thought West Side Story was the best thing I ever saw.
Did you always want to be a Jen?
I wanted to be Maria. I loved Maria. You know, I learned that I could do things. I mean, I did 6-8 weeks of basic training that I would never have thought I could climb a wall and wiggle under a wire and shoot a gun and do all the things I did. I had a great time. Oh, it was my macho period. It lasted about 6 weeks.
if we haven't met, the name's Darcelle, hair by Jacuzzi, face by Max Factor, and the body by Sarah Lee.
They come in, they might be laughing at us when they walk in the door, but they're laughing with us when they leave. And they're happy with what they saw by the time they leave. Oh, they used to be way apart. Now they're getting closer and closer together. I think it's probably this vintage voice thing that's happening to me. No, well, Walter wouldn't say the things that Darcelle says. No, Walter would never say the things, never come out with some of the things that, in fact, Walter would probably get decked if he said some of the things that Darcelle can get away with.
Go on with the show.
We've opened a lot of doors. There was a time when if you were in drag, you couldn't walk between our place and Broadway to go to the Embers. It wasn't there then, but I'm saying at that time. Now, they're accepted everywhere. I refuse to be in a slot. That's why I would never be a part of AARP. I would never be, I never want that. I don't feel like I'm 71 years old. I don't look like I'm 71 years. I don't ever want to act like I'm 71 years old. It's amazing to me, the 55-year-old people, 50-year-old people that come in to celebrate their birthday, and, oh my God, I'm too old, I shouldn't be out. I hated to drive down here, it's dark outside. What the hell is all that?
Since 1882, there have been over 4,700 murders by lynching in the United States. The overwhelming majority of those victims were African American. In 1939, this horrific part of our history was recorded vividly by poet and school teacher Lewis Allen. He brought his poem to the attention of Billie Holiday. With help from her accompanist, she set the poem to music and made it a part of her performances. David Margolick, author of a book with a poem's title about Miss Holiday, makes a strong case that this was the first cry of the American Civil Rights Movement that began more than a decade later. Today, names such as Brandon Teena, James Byrd Jr., Hattie Mae Cohens, Brian Mock, and Matthew Shepard remind us that the same hate which fueled those lynchings continues to strike at those who are perceived as different. In honor of those who have gone before us, and with the hope and belief that we will change the future, we respectfully present Strange Fruit.
Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter
To the doughboys fighting in the desolation of no man's land, World War I seemed to go on forever. The second great battle of the Marne had stopped the Kaiser's final drive on Paris, but the Germans were still in Allied territory, even though they now were taking a tremendous battering from their foe.
I was born in 1917 on a farm in Missouri. My father was totally deaf and my mother was hard of hearing. And all of my brothers and sisters, except for one, had some hearing loss of varying degrees. Well, I went to the State School for the Deaf when I was 8, and I stayed there from September until June. During the school year, we never went home from the school, and so sometimes we were more connected to the students at the School for the Deaf, and I certainly loved my family, but I didn't see a lot of them after I went to the state school. I remember especially one teacher who really gave me a lot of special time out of class. She showed me how to read. She showed me books in the library and really helped me and really inspired me during my life.
The Roaring Twenties, personified by the flashing feet of a line of flappers executing the Charleston. They seem to tap out the battle cry, forget your troubles and live for today.
But really at that time, especially when I was growing up, deaf people were fairly accepted. They were people who often worked in the post office, in banks, and then a short time after, the oral method of teaching took over, and then deaf people weren't able to get a good education. I remember FDR, and while I was a student at Gallaudet, I went to the White House. My senior class went to the White House. We went to a reception, and I met Mrs. Roosevelt, and she was very tall. Oh, I loved college. It was a wonderful experience. It was the first time out of Missouri. It was beautiful. I was in Washington, D.C. It was beautiful. I was exposed to so much environment and culture, all those things, meeting other deaf people at Gallaudet. It was a wonderful experience, and I met my wife there. My wife was from
Silverton.
So from the Silverton area here in Oregon. I fell in love with her, and we were together all through college. I think in our senior year, I felt like, well, if I don't do something, maybe I'll never see her again. And I married her in secret. The family knew. But if the college found out, we would both be expelled. Oh, it was so small, you can't even imagine. You couldn't even go into places without your hat and gloves, and women had to wear a hat and gloves and everything. It was very, very formal, very genteel at the time. Another thing that I decided, I was a good accountant at the time, but there was a lot of competition for jobs in Portland. And for a deaf person, if there's a hearing person and a deaf person applying for a job, the hearing person would always win. Often when I would try to understand what people were saying, and I was having to lip read, and often people would say never mind. And people often thought that, oh, this person can't hear, so they must be stupid, those kinds of things.
From the facilities of the KGW-TV newsroom, Oregon's first interpreted news for the deaf, signed by Henry Stack.
Fair weather will continue over much of Oregon today.
It's currently 37 degrees here in downtown Portland. I'm Brenda Braxton along with Hank Stack.
But KGW I feel so proud of because it's helped make life easier for deaf people all around the area. Oh, I think as early as 5, I knew that I was more attracted to males than females. But really, my sexuality, you have to understand, we express it through marriage, and but even when I was married, I felt like I was attracted to men, but I never did anything about it. And I guess I didn't realize that I had a different orientation. And after my wife passed away, I met a deaf man, and he said that he was gay and sort of led me out of the closet. The amazing thing to me is that deaf people have never rejected me. I mean, after I came out, I wasn't sure, but I never felt any discrimination from deaf people. And I don't care really what hearing people think anyway, so,
night in my dreams. Picture you upon my knee, just tea for two and two for tea, just me for you and you for me alone.
After the Olympics, in which she set 2 world's records for both the javelin throw and the 80-meter high hurdles, Babe Didrikson participated and excelled in any sport that crossed her path, some of them more than a little unorthodox for her sex. Young Babe's whole life was devoted to competitive athletics.
And I had seen her play softball for a couple of years before we met in the bowling league.
We were city champs and state and ASA, one ASA regional 1 year, yeah. So it was pretty good.
And I just grew up in a severely straight, religious household. And my role in life was to marry and raise children. And I was supposed to become a rainbow girl and a daughter of the Confederacy, neither of which I became because I started to protest as I grew older that I didn't want to be those little frilly things.
Not highly educated parents, but they were wonderful parents. There were 9 kids in my family, 5 boys and 4 girls, and a wonderful time. I had a wonderful childhood.
And as the years wore on, the tomboyish Texas gal lost the gangling, awkward look and changed instead to a charmingly feminine young woman. She seemed supremely happy with the man she married in 1938, ex-heavyweight wrestling champ George Zaharias.
Oh, I had a crush on every school teacher I ever had, from first grade on. That's true.
Just kind of preferred women.
That's right, always.
I really did not until the 6th grade when I fell in love with my Girl Scout counselor at camp. My first time away from home, and I could really pursue my own interest, and I did. I fell in love with her and my junior high PE teacher.
My mom told me when I was about 15 years old, and this is what makes me think that she knew, that she told me at the age of 15, she said, "Evelyn, you will never be married."
They called me in one night when I was with my first love. The male coach of the softball team told my mom and dad that he thought I was a homosexual, that I was a queer, having an affair with one of the girls associated with the softball team. And he wanted my parents to know, and they questioned me for 2 hours behind closed doors and said that if I was a homosexual, they would disown me.
Of a better land.
I knew Elvis Presley. And the fact that he really never carried on a conversation with you much. He was just like to stare at you, you know. Even in school, just, you know, he would pass you in the hall and just nod his head and just would turn around all the way to the other in the hall, never say anything. I lived a lie for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Living lies are hard. It's real hard on you. It's hard on you physically, mentally, emotionally, in every way. Being in the closet is not a way to live. And the people that I have met here in Portland, Oregon are way, particularly the younger kids that I've met. Mom and dad already know, everybody they work with already know. Their work relationships are stronger because of it. Their family relationships are heads above any of ours, so Evelyn is now out to her immediate family. They've already done that and they're 30. That's got to feel absolutely wonderful. We felt that at 57 and 58, and I never felt it with my family.
On the road to ship come. Whoa, whoa,